To my left and to my right, I have $800 of pure computer. One AMD based and one Nvidia based. Both $400. Which one is better? For our AMD system, we got the Gigabyte V450M DS3H. This motherboard's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so all your modern needs, just like our other computer will have. I'm trying to keep these as spec-wise and aesthetic-wise, and even quality of life-wise, with the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth as similar as possible. For our CPU, we got the Ryzen 5 2600X, which would pair nicely with our AMD GPU. Now, I know this not only because I have a little bit of experience with this type of thing, but also because of bottleneck calculator, which you can find right here. For our RAM, we got this silicon power DDR4 3200 MHz RAM. And you'll notice for both of our systems, the RAM, power supply, and SSD are all the same. And that's because we're trying to keep our performance as close as possible. They also both have Ryzen 5s, which, while they are different generations, one's an X series, one's not an X, so hopefully we're minimizing that gap. Here we got the Kingston M.2 SSD with 1 terabyte of capacity. This is a super hyper budget option. It's currently the cheapest 1 terabyte M.2 on the market, but it'll still do everything you need it to do. For our case here, we got the DIY Cubase 01, along with some ARGB fans. This case is great. It aesthetically looks very pleasing. Cable management, not fun. Was not fun. And here's a time lapse of a portion of the cable management, not even all of it, and it was suffering. For our Golden Boy GPU for our AMD system, we got the RX 580, the 8GB variation. So it's got more VRAM than the Nvidia system coming up, but that doesn't necessarily mean it performs as good, so we'll see. But good looking GPU here. For our second Nvidia based computer, we got the MSI B550 Pro VDH. It's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth just like the other one, for all your modern needs. For our CPU on our Nvidia build, it's a little souped up. It's the Ryzen 5 3600, the next generation, but it should pair well with our GTX 1060. For our case here, had to move back a little, but we got our Montech XR. Now this case is great because it comes with ARGB fans, and not only that, but they're daisy chained, so you don't got to get a fan hub or anything like that. So I'm super happy with using this case. The cable management for it was a doozy, which time lapse. For our GPU here, we got this MSI GTX 1060 for our Nvidia GPU. Now, it has less VRAM, it's only 6 gigs compared to the RX 580's 8 gigs, but it runs more efficiently, so we'll see how it compares. So this is try number 2 at our post test. The first time I tried, the monitor wasn't plugged in, so yeah, nice. Delete key mash to get into BIOS. Ta-da! And we have a poster, boys. Our Nvidia Pc is alive and well. And also, this shines through here. I didn't know that. That's really pretty. So on my left, you're right here. We got our AMD-based system. It's got a Ryzen 5 2600X, and it's got an 8 gig RX 580. On my right, your left, we got a Ryzen 5 3600 and our Nvidia-based GTX 1060 with 6 gigs of VRAM. Now, I tried to component match as much as I could. They got the same RAM, storage, and power supply. However, they obviously have different cases. They have different motherboards, and they have different generation CPUs. But hopefully the X on this CPU kind of balances it out. So, let's see how they do. Alright, so as you can see, I decided to play test 4 different games. These being Doom Eternal, Valorant, Fortnite, and GTA 5. And Fortnite I'll have to touch on a little bit later because I'm not sure how accurate that test is. But for Doom Eternal, we played on medium preset settings, and you'll notice the average frame rate for the Nvidia GPU at 120 is slightly higher than the AMD, but the 1% low is a little bit lower as well. For this test, I played just the first level of Doom Eternal, and gameplay-wise, you know, this includes like the auto map and the weapons mod menu navigation, so that boosts the average a little bit. I'd say they both run pretty stably, anywhere from 80 to 100 frames though a second, or even higher, like if you're indoors. But the gameplay experience, really, it just felt exactly the same on both PCs for this game. For Valorant, more or less I can say the same thing. I will say it was more stable on the Nvidia GPU. You'll notice the 1% low is considerably higher for Valorant, and we ran that at max settings. So, yeah, but I mean, in terms of 196 and 246 frames a second, I'm on a 165 hertz monitor. You're not really going to notice a difference there hugely. The gameplay experience is largely the same. For Fortnite, I'm not sure how genuine this is. I use medium preset settings, and I am not in possession of one of the computers any longer, so my apologies. But on the AMD GPU, it uses super scaling, and on the Nvidia, it does not for medium preset. So I should have just put it on low settings on 100% scale and not use any sort of super resolution, and make sure the settings matched on both computers. So that's my bad, guys. But I still got some interesting results. Despite the frame rate being lower on the AMD GPU, on average, you'll see our 1% low is higher again. This is I can definitely attribute this to the start of the game on the Nvidia system. The start of the game is very choppy on the medium preset settings on the Nvidia GPU. Once you start playing for about a minute to 3 minutes or so, it gets much smoother, and it runs like maybe like 110 to 130 frames a second average. But the start of the game is where it really made the difference for that 1% low. But for GTA 5, the settings were an exact match. This is where I feel like it's the most accurate one, and where the Nvidia graphics card really shines. You'll notice both the higher average frame rate just slightly, but the higher 1% low is noticeable. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more frame drops. I basically just played the first mission where you chase the bike you're trying to repo, and I just would kill civilians and get chased by the cops a lot, so that there was a lot of particles and everything. And when the particles and like I got chased by a lot of cops like heavily, it definitely would drop a lot more on the AMD GPU. It was more of a consistent experience on the Nvidia GPU. So yeah, I think the Nvidia gets a very slight win for consistency, but I mean, it was also slightly more expensive. So let's get into the cost breakdown now that we know how they perform. So here you can see a cost breakdown of every part I spent money on for each computer, including the operating system. I want to keep it realistic for you guys out there that might be buying your own computer. I bought the CPU and GPU for both of these computers used. That's what the purple highlight is. And you'll see the 1620 refund on the first computer. That's because the CPU had some bent pins, so I got a partial refund and just bent the pins back, and it works like a dream. But do I think the $40, $50 some odd dollars was worth it for the Nvidia GPU? And to that, I'm going to say yes. In my opinion, I believe it was worth it. Not just because of the consistency, but also because of the ease of operation. I had a lot of driver problems with the AMD GPU, and it was where like the screen would go black on a lot of games, or it would run poorly. And it turns out I had to reinstall the drivers. So if you have an AMD GPU, make sure you install the drivers with a minimal install rather than a full install, because even though the recording software isn't recording, it will use resources in the background. So that is a problem I ran into. I also just had to do a lot more chipset updates. That might have been the motherboard though, but the Gigabyte B450M is definitely like, for example, it has worse Wi-Fi than our MSI motherboard on the Nvidia PC, but you'll notice price difference definitely reflects that. But yeah, I definitely would pay the extra $50 for that Nvidia PC. But both are great. I really like both of the computers, and hopefully we sell that AMD based one soon. And yeah, why don't we finish this off with some B-roll? That was dumb as fuck. Stupid idiot. We'll get that goop out there. That's a little heavy on the goop. I think it should be fine. Part of me wants to put more, but goop her up. Goop her up, why don't you? You're filming.
Yeah.
Goop her up, why don't you? Ooh yeah, got that goop on there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You probably won't skip, but I don't care. Oh yeah.
Show the camera the raw.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Baby knife for opening my boxes. Baby knife. Yeah. For our case here, for our AMD build, we got the Cubase. So on my left, your right here, we got our AMD base.